Hello, BookTube.
Hey, we're doing well, it's not really a wrap-up. It's almost a wrap-up for you, but for the Summer Sizzle Readathon, we're just going to tell you where we at, how many we've read, what we thought of them, all that kind of thing. This isn't going to be our final wrap-up because at the end of the month we're going to do our favorites and all that stuff from everything we read. Like favorite new authors that we hadn't read before, surprise books, all that kind of stuff. So
It's sort of a mid-month taking stock of everything we've read so far and where we're going
Yep.
afterward.
Yep, and later today we're going to do another video. We're going to have a bit of an announcement, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff we read, Becky has already read 11. Actually, she's read 13 books. One of them, though, was a mystery. One of them was an accidental duplicate of a category, right? Category of romance, which is no problem. We love them. So
I got overexcited with all the Harlequins we have.
Yeah, they're fun too.
They are.
Yeah.
Surprisingly fun.
Yep. We both had one we didn't like this month, though.
I had two.
Oh yeah, but only one of them was a category.
Yeah, only one of them was a category, and boy, oh boy, was
It's a doozy. Yeah.
uh,
All right, so you want to get started? You have a lot more.
I'll go first.
So yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go down the summer fling list and go into what we've read, and if we haven't read it, we'll just gloss right over it.
Yep.
So the first one is Down Home Country, and I read Carnal Innocence by Nora Roberts. Oh, by the way, these a lot of these books deviate from what we had at the beginning of the month, because some of them they just did not work out. He's got one that he'll tell you about.
Yeah.
But Carnal Innocence, but Innocence is a little town, by the way. And it's a fantastic book. It starts out kind of raw and sloggy, but it picks up really well, and it's a surprisingly thick book. It's over 400, almost 500 pages. And I sort of just plowed through it because it has
about 2 days, right?
Yeah, it has so many different storylines. It's got a lot of different storylines, and it never really got slow once it took off. So it's a very, very good book. I can't recommend it enough.
It's your first Nora Roberts, right? Or
yeah, it's my second Nora Roberts. The first one doesn't really count because I think I was 15 when I read it.
You don't remember much about it?
I remember nothing about it.
Okay. Well, my Down Home Country was supposed to be a Debbie Macomber book until I found out it was actually book 2. I didn't have book 1, so I've gone with a different one. And surprise, surprise, I think it may be a Harlequin. I can't remember. I have it in the living room. I forgot to bring it in. So
it's one of the fun bits about having so many Harlequins. You just sort of pick and choose from these
grab that.
These prompts. Why can't I speak today?
Yep.
All right, number 2 is Big City Life. Have either one of us read anything with the Big City Life?
No, you started to. But
I sort of gave up the ghost after a while.
It was crap because you said it was just a bunch of really crappy stories in that one book.
Yeah, it was.
What they call inspirational stories, and it's actually only inspirational if you believe a certain way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they're not inspirational to me. Oh, and if you hear that sort of roar in the background, we've got a fan going because it's like hotter than the 6th circle of hell in here.
Yeah.
So we're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, it's hot.
While we do this.
It's hot. That's why we're only doing so far like one video a week, but it is about to be the end of summer, and I'm counting the seconds.
It'll be a bit more bearable as it goes along.
I despise summer. I hate it. I grew up in Missouri, which is worse than here in Georgia, where the summer is, and so I'm dying for the fall. It's my favorite time of the year, fall and winter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Author of Color. It's one of my biggest surprises this month. I loved this book. It's called Real Men Knit by Quanah Jackson. It is a fantastic book. It's about a little knitting shop in Harlem, which would have been good for this actually would have been good for 4 of the prompts. She's an author of color. there's quite a bit of diversity going on. It's pretty sweet and clean. It's friends to lovers. It's got everything you could possibly want. It's about a little knitting shop in Harlem.
Yeah.
And the proprietress dies, and her sons make the decision to keep it open. And the youngest of the sons, and they're all adopted, by the way. The youngest of these sons is the one who attempts to keep it open, and he can't be depended on for anything. So it's a very, very good
Yeah,
book.
I thought about reading that one for my author of color choice, but I ended up going with somebody that's got a ton of books out, and somebody I'm going to want to catch up on pretty soon. Whoa, this thing's heavy.
Love it.
Oh, man. And it went away. Hold on a second.
You can do it, little
is
tablet.
Forbidden by Beverly Jenkins, which, wow, was this ever good. This was really, really good.
I'm going to have to read that one.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised that it was as non-sexual as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the cover, I just expected it to be, have a lot more sexual content in it, and it didn't. And to me, that was a pleasant surprise. It stuck to the story. Didn't go off and have 10 pages of no story. It was really, really good.
That's actually been kind of a theme this month for me. I think maybe two of my books were kind of spicy.
Steamy.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, this was excellent though, and I'm going to read some more Beverly Jenkins after this month is over.
Yeah, I'm going to read that after this month is over. He's
You don't have to wait till after this month is over.
I don't.
You're almost
I
done.
might sing it. I might read it next.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is hot and spicy. This one I had from the beginning. It's called Red Fire by Deidre Knight. It's my signed copy. I like showing it off. She didn't sign it for me, but still.
It's still pretty cool.
Yeah, it's about modern day gods. It's very interesting. It's the everybody's heard of the 300 Spartans who kept back several thousands of forces that were coming at them through a pass. This is a book about seven of those Spartans who made a deal with the god Ares at the river Styx and became immortal. It's so cool. It's really cool. It's a very good book. I can't wait to get my hands on the others.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, there's only 5 of them though.
Yeah, I know, and it doesn't look like she's reading or writing right now.
It doesn't.
I think she's a literary agent, and so she's pretty busy with that. It seems like.
It breaks my feel bads because I like this book.
Yeah. So mine was one I talked about our first video because I had actually already read it at the time, but it was Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. This is a book that I think is going to keep me reading on for a while, even if I don't care for the next one. Although a lot of people say the next one is the best. So
I've been thinking about throwing myself on that series.
yeah, you would love it. It's like I said the first time, it's surprisingly violent, kind of gory.
Is it vampires?
Yeah. Yep, but vampires of a different kind for sure. And there are your more monstrous vampires and things like that too. So it's really good.
I like that. There's two sides of a.
Yeah.
Of a,
It's very good. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was definitely a good book so far. Second or third favorite, maybe even first. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna have to go at the end of the month when I'm done with all 12 of the books, all 12 of the prompts. Which I may not get 12 books in. We do have some arcs to read, but I want to try. I want to try to get all 12 books.
I'm in the middle of one of those arcs. It's really good.
Yeah, it is. Arcs are advanced reader copies if you're not sure.
I'll get that one day.
Yeah.
He keeps saying we need arcs. I'm like, no, we don't. I don't know what that is because I have the memory of a duck. Okay. So the next one is Dark.
Does a duck not remember anything?
I don't know. It was just the only animal that came to mind at the time. Don't mess with me. I'm hot.
Yeah, that's hot.
Okay. So the next one is Dark and Dangerous, and that's for me. It was Christine Feehan. Judgment Road. It's a Torpedo Inc. series. It's the newer of her series, and it's sort of tied in with the Sea Haven series, and this was. It was Christine Feehan, only really amped up on the sex department. This was kinky. Scott tells me there's been a lot of comments about just how sex oriented this is, and I can see it.
Well, and I'm hearing that about Christine Feehan, that's kind of the way she's going now. A little less about story and a little more about everything else that she writes. And I don't know if she's just trying to hit her quota or what it is these days.
Well, this took a head dive into erotica, but it's like for Christine Feehan when you pick her up nowadays. I started with the Carpathian series and I loved them, but this one I'm going to read the rest of them.
Okay.
I mean, why wouldn't I?
Well,
it worked for me.
Yeah, my Dark and Dangerous book. I'm not 100% sure that I shouldn't have just kept going with this one, but I'm not going to. It's The Watcher by Bella Jewell. I talked about this this was what I chose at the beginning. And I wanted to throw it across the room. This was one I'm absolutely not going to finish. And it's not the sex that bothers me in it. It's the verbal abuse from a man to the main character. And it is uncomfortable and it's garbage. And I'm not saying it's a garbage book. Maybe it's well written. I don't know. But from what I read of it, I will not keep going. I despise this book, and it's going to probably go in the trash. So I chose a different book, and it's The Darkest Night by Gina Showalter.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I don't know if it's changelings or vampires or what it is, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to see, and I think I'll probably enjoy this one.
Her name's Ashlyn. I like that. That's pretty.
But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
He's got a flutterby on his shoulder. I'm gonna read that one. I'm looking forward. Yeah, the abusive male characters is another thing that we came across this month. We'll get there. The next is Sweet and Clean, and that was for me the Duke and Miss Denny, and I think I've already talked about it by Joy Reid. Loved this book. Loved it so very much. It was sweet. It was clean. And it really did my heart good. It made me happy. Gives you the warm and fuzzies. That
you should
really
be able to still find that too. I think you should be able to get this book. I don't know if it'll be on Amazon or eBay or whatever. It's from 1998, so it's not incredibly old. But she loved it, and I'm going to read it too eventually.
It's a very good book. If you ever get a chance, come across this in a used bookstore or something, or just buy it outright. It's so good. Yeah. It's really good. I can't stress it enough.
All right, and my next, you didn't have
I
don't have a Sweet and Clean. I do, but it's these old shades by Georgette Heyer. I have to finish it. I haven't got it finished yet, so yeah.
Jump on that one next.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
All right, next one is Road Trip, and this was probably my biggest surprise, one of my biggest surprises of the month. Maybe that would be real mid-net. I'm not sure. This is Lost and Found by Danielle Steele, and it's about a woman who she's 58 years old, and she basically has goes through a midlife crisis. She's a very, very successful photographer. As in, she does photographs for the cover of Vogue and for princes and kings and the president. And one night she falls off of a ladder. She's alone. She's got 3 children, but they're all grown with children of their own, all moved away. So she's alone at home by herself with a broken ankle. And her oldest daughter makes her feel that she's got one foot in the grave because her oldest daughter is awful. And what follows is a road trip that she goes on to see the 3 biggest loves of her life. And she learns so much about herself, about who she is, about what she wants from the rest of her life, that she is not, in fact, dying at 58 years old. And she finds a new love along the way, and it is amazing. absolutely amazing. This isn't the kind of story that I usually read. I think we all know I like my body strippers. There's nothing body strippery about this. No body stripping at all. And it's so good. Look it up. You'll enjoy yourself. You really will.
For mine, I'm actually in the middle of it right now. But like I said, I had to stop because I've got those arcs to read. But it's Texas Destiny by Lorraine Heath. This is really good. This started so well.
Good.
And I know this is kind of a fan favorite of Lorraine Heath. It's from the 90s, I believe. She's got about 3 or 4 series. She writes under, actually she may have more than that. She has 60 books to her credit.
I don't think I realized it was Avon Books.
Yeah, and which Avon is, I believe, owned by Harlequin now.
What doesn't Harlequin?
Yeah, I know. But I'm enjoying the hell out of that. This is really good so far.
Yeah, that would work for a couple of our prompts.
Yeah, it
as
would.
well.
It would. Old school historical, which is coming up.
That cover is totally old school historical.
Yeah, it is.
It's fantastic.
Very nice. That's a great cover. I don't like all the covers for these, like especially some of the paranormals, but I really like a lot of the historical covers. They're pretty cool.
Okay, so the next prompt is Friends to Lovers.
Yeah.
And boy, were they a bit dodgy this week. So let me preface this with, this is my first Linda Lael Miller book, and I'm sure she's a great author. She
has a lot of books out.
Yeah, she does. She's got a very long career under her belt. She's got so many books out, and she's a good writer. She spins a good tale. Let me also preface this with, there's something, I can't handle stories in which I really, really dislike one or both of the main characters. And this book, One Wish, every male character in this book was atrocious. Atrocious. The book is my Friends to Lovers book, and it's about a woman who she's friends with this man, or this boy, Luke, from early childhood, and later on down the road he leaves town, he comes back, and he's the prodigal son, and she's engaged to somebody that her father has decided she's going to marry, and she's going to love no matter what she wants, and her fiance is certain she's going to marry him and love him no matter what she wants. And Luke, the guy that comes back, is certain that she won't love him no matter what she wants. And every man in this book, every male, and I'm talking every single male character, is just not likable. They all decide what this woman is going to do with her life. They all decide who she's going to marry, where she's going to go, who she's going to be, how she's going to live, and it does not matter what she wants. And they decide that with every female character in their life, every single one. And the ending of this book, I wanted to chuck it across the room. The only reason I didn't is because I wanted to have it here so I could tell you just how much I hated it.
All right.
Just go over there and think about what
that
you
one
did.
might go in the trash too, because it's actually not in very good condition, and nobody else needs to read it.
And it's not because I banged it on the floor, I promise.
No, we just bought it, and it's not in good condition. All right, so my Friends to Lovers book I talked about earlier on, last week I think, and it was Insatiable Hunger. It's one of the 7 Cents books from Harlequin Desire. It was actually a good book. I gave it 3 out of 5. I probably would have done a little better had the middle kept on with the story. Mm-hmm. But
the middle
I
just
couldn't
meandered
do it.
aimlessly.
Yeah,
right?
It just took a break from the story, if you know what I'm saying, for about 60 pages. But other than that, I mean, the first third and the last third of this book were good, like very good. But
I like that. The first line on the back is "She's just a friend."
Yeah, it's a good book, and I really do recommend it, because that last few chapters of that book are excellent. It like turns into a really good character piece. The two characters become characters, and characters I would like to continue to read about, but they'll probably never see another page.
I think that's one thing we kind of, a lot of these Harlequins have trouble with is sometimes they're so short,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really have time to make characters of their characters.
Yeah.
They don't use their time wisely.
Right.
That's what happened with the middle of that one, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, our next one is diversity. This one was a pretty good one. I read it was a Harlequin special edition for this, and it's called No, never mind. Sorry, that's the wrong one. It's called Storming Whitehorn.
Which one did I read?
By Christine Scott. And I talked about this one at the beginning. I had already read it. I read it in a day. It occurs on a Native American reservation. I can't remember which one. It's in Montana. I want to say Chickasaw, but I'm probably wrong. I don't remember. It's a very good book. Very good book. Surprisingly good. Again, there's a little bit of that. I know what's best for you, so I'm going to do what's best for you, no matter what you want. That is such a pain in the neck motif. I hate it, and it's so common in romance novels. It's so common,
Yeah.
and it's so frustrating. But he shapes about halfway through, and then just. Yeah, things even out after a while. It's a very good book. Very, very good book. I don't even know what else to say about it. I've already spoken about it.
Yeah, you have. That's the second time, right?
Yeah.
So, next for me is Hairpin Curves, which I've talked about already as well. Very good. I would recommend it. It is a female relationship book, but it's another romance, and it's very, very good. I mean, the romance is good. The characters are real. They're real characters. There's no cookie cutter characters in this book. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. The author, I don't know if she has anything else I'd like to read or not, but I really did enjoy this one.
That was one thing. You were talking about the romance was very good. That was one thing I liked about this Carnal Innocence book by Nora Roberts. The romance in it was a very slow burn. It was very organic. It was beautifully done by Nora Roberts. I guess she's kind of the queen of that, I suppose. Well, she's been around for...
How many books has she written?
So many.
in the hundreds.
Yeah, anytime you go to a bookstore, she has like the entire shelf to herself. Danielle
the
Steele.
In Death series has 50 books.
Well, I can't wait to get my hands on the next Nora Roberts book we've got.
Yeah, we got a bunch of Nora Roberts.
We really do. So many.
But hold on, did we already do Big City?
That was the first one.
Yeah, well, I didn't talk about mine. It was on the bottom here, and I missed it. So I'll go ahead and talk about it. It's Julie Garwood's Sizzle. It was a 3-star book for me. It was pretty good, but it was a little on the silly side. Like it had it had a slapstick type character in it and stuff like that, and it just didn't go with the rest of the book. It was kind of a Highland romance. This was.
Yeah.
In modern day, but man, some of the characters were just ridiculous.
Julie Garwood is magnificent when it comes to her historical romances. I haven't read many of her contemporary, so I can't really give my 2 cents worth in it.
This is my first Julie Garwood contemporary.
I'm gonna have to read it.
Yeah, you should read it. It's actually a fun read. Like I said, I gave it a 3, and I would have given it a 4. Well, and the thing was, there was a character in this book who, at the very end, was of no consequence whatsoever. He just didn't belong.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Maybe he was just there for comedy relief.
Yeah, kinda. And it just didn't belong in this book. It was shoehorned, and I didn't appreciate that at all.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, next one is disability representation, and I did another Harlequin special edition, and that's Her Second Forever by, who are you, Joanna Sims. It was a very, very good book. It's about a below-the-knee amputee. She runs an equestrian therapy center. And it was very, very interesting. She's the main female character. She's actually about 10 years older than the main male character. And she's the one who's the amputee, and she's got very, very set plans for her future. But he's this young cowboy who throws a monkey wrench in those plans, and for some reason it totally works. It's a very good book. I really enjoyed it. It's about a 3.5 star for me.
Okay.
It was a good fun read. Something to take with you to the beach. Very good book.
Mine was from Harlequin Intrigue. You'll see a theme here. We do read quite a few Harlequins, but it's Falcon's Run. It's about a lady who runs a ranch that employs disabled children and disabled people and people who've been in trouble with the law and just things like that. And she's got a good heart and all that. Now, it's by Amy Thurlow. Actually, I don't know if it would be Amy or Amy Thurlow, but she spun a pretty good yarn here. But the romance in this book was just totally shoehorned in. It was kind of a suspense book written, and then this romance just kind of comes out of nowhere. And
no organic to it at all.
No, there's none at all. There is no. It's not organic at all. It just kind of happens, and then at the end, it takes the last step, and there's no talk about marriage in it or anything.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, there is a marriage proposal.
Oh.
Spoiler alert! Too late, but still. It's about a 2.5 star book for me. It was one of them. It was completely mediocre.
That's not really a spoiler.
It's not a bad book, and some people would actually really enjoy it. And as I noticed, a lot of people on Goodreads did. But it's just not a. It's not a book I'll ever read again.
Yeah, I've noticed a pretty big discrepancy between what I like and what Goodreads has.
There are Goodreads people who just willy-nilly throw out 5-star ratings, though.
There's one book down here that's like 4 stars on Goodreads, let me tell you. And a 4-star book.
Yeah.
All right, next one is old school historical, and guys, I've been dying to talk about this one. It's called The Witch and the Warrior by did I read that? Yeah, The Witch and the Warrior by Karen Monk. It's my old school book, and I cannot tell you how much I loved this book.
She's somebody that doesn't have a lot of books out either.
She doesn't have a lot of books, and it's just heartbreaking because she is a great author. This is about a woman who's being burned at the stake as a witch by her clan in Scotland. It's medieval, of course. And the warrior, this guy, his name is Mad Alex McDunn. He's supposed to be insane. He saves her as she's being strapped to the stake, and as they're starting to set her on fire, he saves her because he's got a sick son, and he's looking for a miracle. And what follows is just a fascinating story. And the thing about this girl, she's not really a witch. She's just got a good dose of common sense, and her mother was a healer. So she gets to this man's castle, and she starts taking care of the boy, and she makes them stop bleeding him, and like putting him in suffocating rooms, and it's fantastic. There's so much good about this book. It's funny. There were parts of this that I was just cackling out loud. I had to explain to him what I was roaring about. It was so good. If you're looking for a good historical, good romance book, pick it up. It's very good.
Okay. So
you need to read it.
Yeah, that was old school historical. The one I read was, I think, a kind of a booktube favorite for romance, and it's Judy Judy was The Secret, and man, did I ever love this one. This was a great, great book. It actually took a little bit to get going. It started well, then it took about 50 pages and meandered a little bit, but I totally understood why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was telling a story, had a lot to tell, had a lot of history to tell, things like that. And while I enjoyed that, it didn't really pull me in until about 60, 75 pages in, something like that. But then once I was in, and I read the last 2/3 of it in one sitting, or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's probably tied with for the best this month, but I don't know. We'll get to that next week.
I tried to get him to read it for
Or the week after.
A road trip book, because like the first half of the
Third.
book,
The first third is a road
they're
trip.
they're on the road.
I changed it to old school
romance.
historical when I discovered that the road trip was over a third of the way through.
Meets the
So.
prompt. It works.
No, it didn't.
It
But
does.
that's all right.
Shut. Alright. Last one is category romance, and this is the one that I messed up. I got excited. Well, I read one, and then I'd forgotten that I'd read a category romance because I read this right here. This one offended me on a bone deep level, literally, because it's about a guy. He's a cowboy, has been for years. He's been a rodeo champion. He's a literal cowboy. He works on a working ranch with other cowboys, and he's reaching the end of his days as a cowboy. Like I said, he's an ex rodeo champion. So now he hurts everywhere when he wakes up, and it's supposed to be this mysterious thing. And you know, from the very beginning of the book, he's got friggin' arthritis. I have arthritis.
You have a serious case of arthritis.
I have a serious case of arthritis. And he comes to the rescue of this woman, Maddie, who's been attacked by a very prominent member of town. And like through the whole book, she's talking about how she would love to one day settle down with her very own cowboy, and how they will be happily ever after. And he's like, I can't be her cowboy because he has arthritis. And she's like, but I can't be your cowboy because I have arthritis. She's like, do you take your medicine? He's like, no. She's like, well, why? Well, that's a really, really good question. Oh, arthritis?
And she said it was just full of cliches and really bad dialogue.
He wants to take her home and make sweet love to her. The term sweet love was used every time sex was even hinted at. Every single time. They had just finished making sweet love. Cliche after cliche. Bad motif after bad motif. And that I can't be your cowboy because I have arthritis. Well, screw that.
Yeah.
Take your meds.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So mine is a Colton book, but I haven't read it yet. So I'll be getting to that pretty soon.
Oh, one of the intrigue.
No, you know what?
No, romantic suspense ones.
I did read another one too. To replace that one, didn't I? Last night I did actually. I read. Let me get that up here. I'm having trouble.
You go ahead. I can talk more about how much I really despised that book.
Go ahead.
It wasn't even earned. He's like, in the end, he's like, I can't be your cowboy. She's like, well, but I want you to. He's like, okay.
I'll get to this one next time. We need to wrap up the video. It's getting really long.
Oh, this is the other one I read for the category romances. It's Mysterious Abduction.
It's
by
excellent.
Rita Herron.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
So good. The romance is very organic, and
Yep.
there's nothing cliched about it.
Yep.
And
it's not shoehorned in. It seems really good.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems real.
Yeah, there's a good thread of romance moving all the way through the book. It's
Yep.
not intrigue and then, hey, there's a little romance, and then intrigue. It moves all the way through the book, and it's very, very cleverly written. Very cleverly
I hope our
written.
thumbnail isn't you holding that book in front of my face. It might be, though.
I'm sorry. We haven't had that much try. It'll probably be me yelling at the screen, actually.
Might be. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it. We have another video coming up. We're gonna record it now, and it's just a
just a little announcement.
yeah,
It's
just
not-
a little
it's not anything
announcement
huge.
of something we're going to start doing, and we'll see you then.
Yeah, your books are calling. Go read.